We talk about brandy, particularly in China. We talk about whiskey more so. Now, tequila, interesting move.
Yes. Well, Mexican exporters produce, well, of course, a lot of tequila, and 80% of it goes to the U.S. In '09, you know, exports from Mexico to the U.S. collapsed 25%, and they had to find an alternative market. They're coming to Asia, including many countries, but now they're thinking, of course, about China. And in this case, in this story, we meet a very interesting character, very colorful character. He's some kind of tequila monk who preaches.
A tequila monk?
Yes, who preaches the art of drinking tequila. He made me a convert, I should confess. And they're trying to bring tequila first to Hong Kong. They're discussing with the Chinese government how to be able to import tequila into China, because currently high-end premium tequila cannot enter China.
Why is that?
Because of alcohol content.
It's too alcoholic, is it?
Yes. There's some red tape around it. It can be solved. Mexican authorities are saying, you know, we've talked about it with the government. We're just waiting for the final approval and the final...
So China's open to the idea of importing this premium-end tequila.
Absolutely.
Then you've got the problem, obviously, of converting spirits drinkers in China to tequila, because it's obviously not a common spirit, is it? How do they do that?
Well, it's very hard because, you know, people don't really know tequila as a high-end drink. They just, you know, gulp it in and, you know...
wait for things to happen, yeah.
Exactly. And, you know, the tequila we're talking about is something that you should savor very slowly, take your time. It's not something that you're just going to gulp.
This is an interesting point, though, isn't it? Because, as you say, most people, probably including myself, see tequila as not something to be savoured, but to be swallowed as quickly as possible, and then the flavour or the taste is replaced by some lemon or lime or whatever. But what you're saying, it's a sipping drink, and that they're going for the premium people who go for sort of single malt whiskies.
I'll tell you one thing. While doing this story, the source, Rojas, who's in the .com story, sat me down, made a line of tequila bottles, all of different colors, different types, different ways of manufacture. He had me sip every single one, and he said, look, we're not going to talk about something you don't really know about. That's how he converted me into a new drink that is totally different from what we normally assume tequila is in a margarita or something like that. Rojas was very interested in me enjoying the drink as is straight.
So he's one man. He's got a continent of 1.3 billion people to convert. Does he think, though, that because of this change or this slump in consumption in the US, that he has to develop these markets because the US is probably not going to come back to the same degree?
I don't. They do talk about the US as a still very important market. But there is a constant theme in these stories. For example, yesterday I was at the Hong Kong food fair, the Hong Kong fruit fair, sorry. The Hong Kong fruit fair has Latin Americans coming, for example, Peruvians, saying, we also had problems selling to the US, our produce, we're coming to Hong Kong, we're renegotiating standards and agreements with China to enter the mainland with their produce as an alternative market because we're scared that our production might be, you know, abandoned in our warehouses and not being sold in the US.
Just before we wrap up, I've got to ask you very quickly, the worm, does that appear in the top end, and how do you get people to eat it?
Oh, the worm doesn't belong to tequila. The worm belongs to mezcal, which is another kind of drink. There's a big story around the worm.
My ignorance is blinding. I do apologise for that. I always thought it was with tequila.